Hello, this is Terra. How are you doing, my little knowledge seekers? I am going to explain to you today all about sweepstakes, how to win them, how to find real sweepstakes, because there's a lot of fakes out there, and how to enjoy the hobby. And it is a hobby. And I guess first I need to give you my qualifications. I won my first sweepstakes when I was 8 years old. It was an opera length string of pearls, which my aunt quickly took for her own, but I was 8 and had no idea what to do with them. So after that, I entered and entered, but I was 8. I really don't know how I won those pearls, but I did. They came in a little box and it was very exciting, and my mother wanted to know where I got the money from, blah 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 blah, but it was free. It cost a stamp. Well, then I kind of went around my life. I grew up, I went to school, went to high school, did a little bit of college, got married, got pregnant. Now what? Well, now I started thinking about what I could do with my spare time that I all of a sudden found myself having. And I thought back to my childhood and how fun it was then, and how much more fun it could be now, or actually then, which was not when I was 8, but when I was 20. And I didn't even know if sweepstakes still existed. And there was no internet, but I knew that there had been a sweepstakes newsletter on the Publishers Clearinghouse. They used to send little stickers with little magazines. That's what they did. They sold magazines. And a couple of them were sweepstakes. I had been looking for a magazine, people, something good and juicy to read once a week, once a month. And I had seen those and I thought, maybe. So the next time I got a hold of a Publishers Clearinghouse mailing, which wasn't hard because people threw them down and away. So I grabbed up one and went in the house and looked, and sure enough, there was one called Contest Newsletter. And I think, well, it was Contest and Sweepstakes Newsletters. They are different. And the other one I think was called Sweepstakes Update, but I'm not sure. Neither one exists today as I know it, but as I knew it, but there are sites out there. I will put below a couple of reputable sites. Now, one of the sites that I used, that I was using when I was entering online several years back, because I haven't had time, and now I do, and I'm just not motivated right now. But some of the one of the sites that I used was free for certain sweepstakes, and then if you wanted all the sweepstakes, and I mean the biggest sweepstakes, the best sweepstakes, they had them, you paid, and I think at the time it was $9 a month. I'm not sure, but there's certainly sweepstakes pages out there, sites out there that are either free or very cheap. And tell you the truth, I wouldn't bother unless you're really having trouble and really struggling finding the sweepstakes. I wouldn't bother with it. Sometimes you see a product on TV that's giving away something to a major event. The Super Bowl just passed, and I know there was several sweepstakes before the Super Bowl that you could enter and win a trip to the Super Bowl. I won a trip to the Super Bowl. It was in Louisiana, in New Orleans, and it was 2 tickets to the Super Bowl and 2 round trip airplane tickets. I was pregnant with my second child by 8 months. My husband couldn't get off, the husband at the time couldn't get off work, so we sold the tickets and had quite a bit of money to do with whatever we wanted. Of course, we spent most of it on baby stuff. What else can I tell you? Well, let's get into how you really do it. And the first step is indeed finding something to enter, because if you don't have something to enter, you might as well just close the computer, step away from the computer, because you're sunk. Um, if you Google, and I just looked in a few places where there are commonly sweepstakes, and because of, I don't know why, I looked at the Game of Thrones site. There's nothing there, but they don't come back until next year. If you're a big Game of Thrones fan, I would start looking in January or even before at the Game of Thrones site and see if they give away anything. Sometimes shows will give away props, they'll give away things from the show, such as DVDs, sets, and every once in a while, of course, the grand prize, there's usually a grand prize and some smaller prizes, so that, you have a chance of getting, if not the grand prize, then something else. And if I could tell you how many t-shirts I had, I was a walking billboard. But I loved each and every one of them because they were always unique. And I'm a t-shirt person. I wish I had all of them back, but I don't. So yeah, maybe I'll have to start entering and get some t-shirts. We have we have skylights, and I live in Oregon, so this is really kind of strange because the whole room is lit up like I'm outside, but it'll go away, trust me. Anyways, so the grand prize quite often, I'm having issues. Anyways, the grand prize quite often is a trip to either the place where they're filming. When they're filming, you may get a walk-on role, which means you'll be in the background somewhere and won't get to say anything, because if you did say something, they would have to, then you could enter the they give you a talking part. You would have to enter the union, which is SAG. No, not for TV. Yeah, SAG-AFTRA is now the same union, and you could be an actor, but I'm not promising that. I've never seen that happen, never heard of it happen, but who's to say? Just being there on the set, there's usually a meet and greet. They usually have a swag bag full of all kinds of stuff, and it's a fun time. I won one time to go to a concert with a meet and greet with Glenn Campbell, who has since passed. And no, oh, no, it wasn't Glenn Campbell, excuse me. It was the other really sexy country western singer. It was, remind me, Kenny Rogers. Thank you. My last name used to be Rogers. How can I be that way? And he was fantastic. He was very sweet. He didn't feel good that night. His throat, he said, was raspy, but to me it sounded fine. And so I was very happy to have that prize. And we did get t-shirts and a little swag bag full of his newest CD and that kind of thing. So you have to find a sweepstakes. Google it. Be very careful. PCH was the first thing that came up for me. I wouldn't enter PCH. My husband does because he likes to set and do all this stuff. But you are a marked person for the rest of your life. They will send you, he gets stuff once or twice a day. Am I wrong? No. He doesn't talk much, but he was shaking his head no. Say hi to Bill.
Hello.
Hello. That's my hubby. He will almost always be sitting here, so there you go. Anyways, so once you find a sweepstakes site, you have to make sure, if you see one, I almost want to tell you, and you can do this. You can do this. DM me if you're not sure, and with a link to the site, and I will look and tell you what I think. A lot of sites, you have to be, everybody's out for whatever these days. So you have to be very careful. But if you know what to look for, then you're okay. So I talked about your favorite TV show, your favorite movies, your favorite celebrity. Then, and this is where the biggest part of sweepstakes um, linger and happen, are your favorite products. Procter and Gamble, they have a huge budget for promotion, and sweepstakes are a promotion. They have given. I used to win all kinds of stuff from Procter and Gamble because they gave away so much. It was hard to miss. You couldn't swing a dead cat and not and not miss. How does it go? You can't swing a dead cat and miss. I don't know. I have a cat, and I just realized that's a stupid thing to say. So let me explain it better. Procter and Gamble is usually all over the place. However, I'm not sure on their site if they promote the sweepstakes there. It's more than likely on whatever product. Now, you remember Procter and Gamble used to be the big people behind soap operas. You hear soap operas called soap operas because soap companies usually were the people who supported and paid for the show to be on the air, and they got all of the most of the commercials were for their products. Procter and Gamble was a big supporter of soap operas. They probably still are today. Haven't watched one in years. Anyways, so you might want to go on your favorite detergent site, on your favorite cat food site. There may be a photo contest. I won one of those one time. Oh, I should have brought the poster out. My son, it was a photography contest, and my son got to be on a poster that was actually in supermarkets for Mother's Cookies, which is now defunct. But so that was very excited. We got to go to San Francisco, and they took professional pictures of him, so for the cover, and it was very exciting. So when you go on a site, let's just say for fun, you go on, oh, what's our favorite cookies or something? Toll House cookies. Okay, that's a type of cookie, but a brand name. Mother's, I just said, is defunct. Stop. Let's say your favorite detergent is Tide. So you go on www Tide or just put Tide detergent. You may probably find their website at the top. Make sure it says Tide. It may say slash and then something like, I'm not sure who owns Tide. I don't know if it's Procter and Gamble, but it may say something like that. So you go on the site, and it will be a fairly grand site. And then you know, okay, I'm in good hands. So you just start scrolling. Now on the top somewhere, it may say enter to win a new wardrobe, enter to win a washer and dryer, because they're a soap company. They're not going to give you a TV because that makes no sense. They're promoting their product. So click on that, and it should take you to the entry page, which looks like every other page you sign up for. And you may have to sign up for their newsletter. If you don't want to do that, I don't know if you can enter. Technically, they can't make you do anything. There are federal laws and city laws and state laws, and it's all jumbled up. But they do have to, by law, have to have rules there. The rules may go on for pages and pages. Skim them, and it may say, if it doesn't say your state, you can assume that it doesn't affect you. If it says your state, such as the state of Washington, there are a lot of sweepstakes that are not allowed there. I don't know why, but and that was years ago. So state of Washington may be back back in the hunt for sweepstakes, but maybe not. I don't know. You have to find this out. So you just type in your information. You may want to find a good program that puts your information in, because it just gets tedious after a while. Terra King, blah, 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 Oregon, blah, blah, blah. And then you may have to answer a question, or they'll ask you, what's your favorite, what laundry detergent do you use? Or have you ever used Tide? And even sometimes then they may send you a free Tide sample. Now, when I was doing it, this Tide sample was this big, and you were lucky to do one whole load of detergent. It may have changed, or they may even send something else. I don't know. It's hard to tell. But now, if there are no sweepstakes on top and you scroll down and you don't see anything, go down to the very bottom of the website, to the very rock bottom, and see what it says. It'll say contact us. It'll say, legal. It'll say this and that. It may just say sweepstakes, which means they probably have a whole page of sweepstakes, and the top ones may be the ones that are running now. They usually won't run just one at a time. They may run 5 at a time. Of course, don't enter, and I cannot stress this enough, don't enter for something you don't want, because if you end up winning something large, you have to pay taxes on it. It's considered income. But there's enough smaller, and I think the cutoff was 1,500, but I think they put it up to 3,000. It may be even higher now. I'm not sure. But if you won something over a certain amount, they would send you a tax form, 1099 maybe. I'm not sure which tax form it was, and you had to put it in with your taxes. Now, the way to get around that back then was the stamps, and I used to sometimes send 50 entries a day. A day. And of course, my husband at the time didn't know. All he knew is some cool stuff came in, and sometimes he got to use it and sometimes he didn't, because I did the work. It was mine. I went on a trip to Palm Springs one time, and he decided to start an argument, so I took my daughter. And she and I had a fine time in Palm Springs. There was a wonderful big thunderstorm, and we had, of course, a big luxury room. So we sat looking out over a golf course, watching the thunder, watching the lightning going all over the place, sideways and everything else. It was memorable. So there you go. The trip, they made it just under the because I didn't get airfare or anything, but I lived in California. It was 90 minutes, I think, 2 hours, something like that. And so it was nothing. I bought a few things and put it on the room, which I understood I had to pay for. When I went to pay the bill, they told me that the company had, and I can't remember what company. That's horrible. They told me the company had picked up the bill. I didn't get anything crazy. I bought my daughter a blanket, and I'm not sure if I bought a pair of earrings for myself, not even $100, and they picked up the tab for that, which was very kind, because it wasn't in the contest rules, so they did something extra. One of a few of the best places to look are your favorite sodas: Pepsi, Coke, Sprint, Dr. Pepper. And even if Coke and 7-Up are the same company, I think, or Coke and Sprite, look at them separate, because they may have separate contests going. That's pretty much it. And I'm trying to think. Just be careful. No one should ever ask you for you to pay for the sweepstakes. You should never be asked to pay postage for the prize to come to you. Those are all red lights, and you should immediately call the Better Business Bureau. And if it's a lot of money they're asking, I would even go as far as maybe sending an email to your local FBI. They've got a lot to do, but you know, they still have to also protect us from scams on the internet. Uh, in closing, when you're shopping, I don't know if you've ever seen during, you know, the big grocery stores always try to put end caps or the great big beer displays right when you walk in. Look around, walk around it. Quite often you will see a box there with some entry forms. That is a local sweepstakes. Bingo. Sometimes you can enter those more than once. Now and that's another thing. Some sweeps, you have to read the rules. Always, always read the rules. So you're gonna read the rules. If it says one entry, put your one entry in. If it says per household, that's it. If it says per person, then you can take and put one for your husband or one for every adult in your house. Children, unless it's a children's giveaway, then you know they probably aren't eligible. Every store you go into could have a sweepstakes anywhere. Walk up and down the aisles. I used to have I used to have a sweepstakes area where I would drive around, and I'd go to certain stores, record stores. That's how long it's been. Of course, they were CDs back then. And I would find sweepstakes, and I would, you know, sometimes I'd come home with a bunch like that, including some almost half of the pad. Sometimes I never took the whole pad. But sometimes you can take the pad, you read the rules. It says you have to enter on the original form or put your name, address, phone number, and this saying or this slogan on a 3x5 card or paper. Bingo again. You don't have to take the whole pad. You just have to take one or two because I want it for my records. I kept the best records in the world. If I won a sweepstakes, I knew pretty much where it was. And I had books and books. And I had like a huge amount with my winning letters. And when we moved, I didn't get to keep them. So, you know, they're in my heart and in my head and will be forever, hopefully. So that's that. Now, I'm sure you have a lot of questions. Please put the questions in the down below in the comments, and I do look at every comment and answer, and I will certainly be happy to answer any questions you have. I guess that's about it for right now. I will do a second video if I come up with a whole lot. I may look around on the internet and find you some easy ones, something that's maybe giving away 1,000 of something or giving away something really snazzy. See, I told you it would go away. And, you know, you can decide to enter those or not, but at least it's places to look. If you put sweepstakes newsletters, I should have done that. Usually I just put sweepstakes and I can quickly see what's there. So anyways, yeah, leave me a comment. For more explanations of this type and of any type of what I think of, please hit subscribe and hit the little bell for notifications, because that way when I do post a new video, you can come and see if it's something you would be interested in. Tell your friends, share this video. I'm trying to get it off the ground. I do have another video. I do have another channel that that is called Funkaholic. I collect Funkos and I do a channel about it. It's a bit established. I have, you know, there's notes coming up here. I'm sorry. Anyways, so yeah, if you want to look for Funkaholic, it's Funkoholic. Funkoholic. And I will be the one. What's my. It's my face, but it's like, it's small, but it's my face. And I may or may not be a few years younger in that picture. Anyways, thank you for listening, and thank you so much. If you want to participate in this particular wonderful hobby and you still have questions, like I said, leave the questions in the comment and I will get back to you. Thank you so much for listening and for being here, and I hope you have a wonderful week. And yeah, thank you. Bye bye.